Okay, well, hey everyone. Oh my goodness, thank you so very much for coming back. I'm wicked excited about today's content, and we're going to be focusing on the concept of renew and renewal. Hey Jackie, nice to meet you. Just to kind of do a little bit of housekeeping. If you're unfamiliar with Zoom, the let's see, when you're in the chat box. Good morning, Ginger. Make sure that when you're making comments, I mean, unless you're intentionally just, private messaging me, that you're sending it out to all panelists and attendees so everybody can, share in the feedback and the conversation as we progress through the session. The other housekeeping thing is the idea of attendance, right? So, this is a CEU'd webinar series. Hey, Allison. So I do need to have your names. Now you can either, actually the best thing to do is, why doesn't everybody just send me a text like you're doing right now and tell me, hey, write your name in there and where you're coming from. It looks like I've got everybody's name. I've got two folks that are phoning in. So if it's possible to type in your name and where you're calling in from, that would be brilliant, just so it really helps me keep tabs on who's coming when I give the CE, but also we're having a drawing tomorrow for a special surprise that, I don't know, maybe, yeah, I'll tell you tomorrow. All right, look at you guys go. Woo! Look at all of that. Hey, from Aberdeen, Lincoln, Nebraska, Illinois, Tampa, Florida. Hey, Annette, Richmond, Virginia, Orlando, Pennsylvania. I saw New Zealand up there. Holy macaroni, Connecticut, Lubbock, Texas. I was in Texas a million years ago when I was in the Air Force. I was at not David Grant, Wilford Hall in San Antonio. And I know you guys are having some wicked weather down there. I don't know if Lubbock is part of that weather disaster, but if you are, sending positive energy for sure. We've got a few Massachusetts folks here. This is so cool. Long Beach, California. Oh, God love you all. This is fantastic. I am so pumped. All right, Janessa, Hollywood, Florida. Okay, you guys keep those things coming in here. I'm really excited, and I am going to just get the show on the road. Hopefully you all have your notebook, I'm sorry, not your notebook, your workbook that I shared in preparation for yesterday's session. We'll continue to use that same workbook through all 3 days. But if you don't have the workbook, don't sweat it. I did put it on the learning management system, which hopefully you all got an email yesterday evening giving you access to that site. If not, just shoot me an email, or you can PM me in here and I'll sort it out after today's call. So if you don't have the workbook, just grab a piece of paper, because there will be some more, questions, reflections that I'm going to challenge you with and invite you to share in the chat box, okay? So again, for a CE situation here, we do have learning objectives. Hopefully we met yesterday's learning objective of beginning that process of self-discovery of what's holding you back from your highest expression of who you truly are. What's in your cup, and what are the things that are in your cup that may or may not be serving you? So I think we met that objective yesterday, but we'll see. Today's learning objective is to look at the discover the power of renewal and self-discovery. Can you please send me the website for the learning? Absolutely, Robin. I'll check that out after the session, okay? Thank you for putting your email in there. I appreciate it. So just to recap from yesterday, because I know that many folks had shared that they weren't able to come to all of the series. Oh, it looks like somebody's hand is raised. And so if I delay in being responsive to you guys, please be patient. I'm just, trying to keep an eye on the list, the chat, and my notes. So just be persistent, okay? And it'll all be good. So from yesterday, the recap really is looking at the, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, I got distracted. Some poor gal's got no water and power, sending positive energy to everyone's family and everyone who's being challenged with these weather conditions and any other challenges for sure. The intention of this webinar series, just to kind of reset the stage, was to share the insights and discoveries that I've made on my journey to becoming a trauma-informed professional, but also to just share with you as well that my insights and discoveries have now been validated. We have 100 individuals who've enrolled in the Trauma-Informed Professional Certificate Program. We had a pilot cohort that enrolled at the end of 2020. We just had our first graduate, which is wicked exciting. But what that experience has shown to me is that I'm on point, that trauma-informed care really is relevant, certainly for our patients and their families, but also for us and our colleagues. And so it's really important that we are aware of that, and that it's not just NICU. So our pilot group was comprised of clinicians, which included docs, nurses, therapists, former parents of premature babies, and even industry professionals. And as I mentioned, it wasn't just the NICU. We've got folks enrolled in the program that are progressing on their journey from PICU, CICU, in addition to NICU, developmental follow-up, labor and delivery. So again, what this does for me and my journey is it just validates my hypothesis that this concept of a trauma-informed approach, or that trauma-informed care, transcends all clinical settings, all settings in general, right? I mean, if you're human, you are vulnerable. And a trauma-informed approach, which is basically just respecting and honoring your story, your history. I don't know where you're coming from. And we tend to kind of shut that piece of our connection with each other out, definitely in clinical settings, because we're very all about business and that sort of thing. And while that's an important dimension of what we do, we can't exclude the human condition, the human components that may be very visible to us, but are very real to the lived experience of that person that we're encountering, that we're engaging with, that we're interacting with. And so with all of these discoveries, I just felt really compelled to share these insights with you. And I framed it by these concepts of restore, renew, and reset. So yesterday, we talked about restore, and we examined what's in your cup with the aim of restoring your sense of purpose. Really, we talked about the challenges of emptying your cup. And I am so blessed for all of the courage that it took for you guys to just be so frank and be so honest, because that's what we need in order to build this community and keep this movement going forward. And it is a movement, of becoming trauma-informed, that we need to feel connected. We need to feel safe. We need to feel supported by each other, that we're in this together. And the only way to move through life and through our experiences is together. That's the beauty, right? That's the beauty of life, at least from my perspective. But we also talked about how what's in your cup isn't what gives you value. It isn't what defines you, that you have value in and of yourself. And we talked about, many of you guys shared the struggles of letting go of some of the stuff in your cup, that it really felt impossible. And we transitioned into talking about our story. Hey, from Scotland. And how our story can both be empowering and even inspiring, but sometimes our stories can be frightening. And the first step in restoring and even renewing ourselves is acknowledging that there are some scary, dark corners in my story that frighten me, that I'm afraid to dig deep and explore. And so I want you to understand that as we move through these 3 days, this is just a snippet in your life. The idea is just to kind of, tempt you to begin to consider, is it time to revisit my story? Is it safe to revisit my story? And I think today's topic about renewal, hopefully will set you up to begin to feel safe, to begin to feel ready to unbundle yourself and discover your true purpose and your true mission in life. And so, when we think about renewal, right? Spring pops into mind, at least pops into my mind when I think about renewal. And although that's beautiful and wonderful on the planet, I'm sure at least in the northern hemisphere is looking forward to spring. What I'm looking at is really, self-renewal, renewing your sense of self. And self-renewal is it's that attention that you give towards ensuring that your life is forward moving, right? That's why you renew. It's it's like filling up the gas tank, right? That's self-renewal. With every step it brings you closer to who you truly are. Not the who you think you are, but who you truly are. And this process, it can also be frightening. It can be challenging because it requires you to strip away the old and the stale elements of who you think you are. So you can become increasingly aware of the purity and the awesomeness, right, of your true essence, your true purpose. Your true essence, it's not your self-esteem, all right? Lots of folks can get this a little bit confused. Self-esteem, while it has its place, self-esteem hinges on others. My self-esteem hinges on what others think of me or what I think I'm giving and gaining from others. That's what self-esteem is about. And it plays a part in our identity of who we are. But it has to be kind of superimposed on a foundation of self-compassion. Because I'm not the only person that says this, okay? There is a lot of really great research that talks about this, okay? That this idea of self-compassion has really been well researched by this amazing researcher, Kristen Neff. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with her. This chick's written books, papers. She's got awesome YouTube videos. I was just looking up at my library to see if I could actually read that far away, but I can't. But it's all good. You got to check this chick out, Kristen Neff. And she talks about self-compassion. And actually, I want to just pull up a definition that she shares in one of her earlier papers, where she defines self-compassion as entailing three main components. I'm going to write it in the text box just so. Kristen Neff is her name, okay? So I put it in the box. So you betcha, the three main components that Kristen Neff or Dr. Neff talks about is self-kindness, common humanity, and mindfulness. And what she does is she kind of blows those concepts up and gets really descriptive, which for me is really helpful, right? Because self-kindness might be one thing for me, but she's the professor. I'm going to go with what she's describing or defining as self-kindness. And self-kindness, according to Kristen Neff, is about being kind and understanding towards oneself in instances of pain or failure, rather than being harshly self-critical. So how many of you guys have this crazy inner critic, right? I'm so sorry, I'm trying to go back and forth. All right, everybody has an inner critic. And if you're not raising your hand, or if you're not acknowledging in the chat box, I know you must be distracted, because we're all super critical to ourselves, right? So self-kindness is changing the dialogue that we have with ourselves. But sometimes we can feel very like, I'm too busy. I don't have any time for that, because I'm always doing, other, out there focused. So that brings me to the second component of self-compassion, and it's called common humanity. Oh, thank you, Katie, for doing that. You're a rock star. And the common humanity component is about perceiving one's experiences as part of the larger human experience, rather than seeing them as separated and isolating. And so this is a little bit spiritual, but bear with me, okay? If this doesn't, sit well with you, this is how I look at it, okay? That, when you look at, the universe, right? When you look at universal consciousness, we're individuations of that grander consciousness. We're individuations of humanity. And so when we realign and reconnect with our shared humanity, that enables us to have that self-compassion, because we don't feel isolated. I'm not the only one that feels, stressed out, or I'm not the only one that doesn't know X, Y, and Z, or I'm not the only one, right? We move from that place of isolation and separation that is self-imposed. I mean, we may think sometimes it's other imposed, but I think it's, gosh, this is a bit of a stretch, but something popped into my head from Eleanor Roosevelt. She has this really cool quote that I'm going to mash up, but that no one can make us feel anything. We give people permission to make us feel bad, right? But we don't have to do that. Something like that. Okay, I apologize, Eleanor, I'm sorry. But we have that power to make the decision and put those boundaries up. And I mentioned this a little bit yesterday, that no one can really make us feel bad without our permission. So why grant permission? Why enable or empower someone else to have control and dominance over our own feelings? So that's a bit of a digression, but this idea of common humanity, is really that thing that helps us realign and reconnect with other. And that's really empowering. If you have those moments, it's really empowering. And please feel free to share in the chat if you have had those experiences. Many times those experiences are mediated by the third component of self-compassion, which is mindfulness. And mindfulness, according to Kristen Neff, is about holding painful thoughts and feelings in balanced awareness rather than over-identifying with them. And that can be really hard, right? And if you think about, some of the things that are put into place that actually undermine our ability to practice self-compassion, is like our language, the way we identify with, I think Brene Brown talks about this as well, like, I'm so stupid. Am I really so stupid? I dropped, I don't know, I dropped the charger on the floor. I'm so stupid. What a knucklehead. How could I do that? Listen to how I'm talking to myself, right? Thank you, Meredith. You're a rock star. And I know I'm not the only person that does this, right? Am I really stupid because I dropped that? No, but we do this, and we're kind of programmed, right? This is how we speak. This is how we use our language. Actually, in other countries, they don't use that kind of, negative self-talk as much because of the structure of their language. But I'm sure they probably have other ways of doing this, because this is not just an English speaking phenomenon, that we all have negative self-talk. That's that self-critic. And that's why self-esteem isn't the thing that we need to hang our hat on. Because if self-esteem hinges on other, then I'm, as Eleanor says, right? I'm given the keys away to somebody else, versus controlling my own self, my own identity. You doing okay with this? Am I explaining this? Okay, yes. Balanced awareness versus over-identifying. Exactly. Exactly, Robert. You're right. Dreams at night are difficult to control, and most are harsh. And I'm glad you brought that up, because sometimes, there's lots of research around dreams, and I, by no stretch of the imagination, am a dream expert. But just some of the things that I've read, and even more recently, I'm reading this really great book right now, The Nurse as the Wounded Healer, and it talks about sometimes dreams are an expression of repressed feelings, emotions, stories, histories. They are not congruent. They may be very fragmented dreams, but you're absolutely right that, and I think when we're renewed, when we're feeling in a place of wholeness, we can actually dissect and dive in and try and unbundle, what is the dream sharing with me? I see I've got two hands raised. I see Laura and Surinder. If you want to pop in, Victoria, unless you're just playing with it, which is all good, because that's what I do too. Just feel free to pop your comments into the chat box. I will open up the mics at the end of the session, okay? But thank you so very much. You're absolutely, you got it, Robert. No worries there, okay? And so I wanted to kind of set the stage with that so that we could really understand the value of renewal is really cultivating then self-compassion. When I talked with well, no, I didn't actually talk with the folks that are in our TIP program right now, but part of the program, they're invited and actually required to share their insights, reflections, and comments. And so when I was looking to get some, insights from other than myself, I turned to this group, and I just wanted to share 2 insights that really impacted me about, for me, the importance of renewal. And one of our learners wrote down that we should focus less on the impression we make on others and more on the impression we make with ourselves. Do we feel good? I'm interjecting here, but do we feel good about what we've just done? This was the most powerful principle of presence for me, for the learner. I think I struggle with this a lot and have most of my life. I tend to care too much about what others think of me, which can interfere with my own personal awareness. I'm really enjoying learning about this attribute. The program revolves around attributes, and I will share more of that information tomorrow. But again, so this is, this is an individual who is going through an intentional journey of self-discovery, unbundling, and looking at the cups that are within, and then taking actual steps to renew their sense of self, to redefine how they identify with themselves. And I love how she's shifting her awareness to understand that it's really about, what do we think in the moment? Because as my brilliant business coach says, what anybody else thinks is none of my business. And even though that's a hard prescription to follow, it's true. What you think of me in this moment. I mean, I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you have positive thoughts about me. But I don't need to know, because I know that in this moment, I am doing the best that I can. I am passionate about sharing this. I am passionate about serving you in some way, shape, or form. And so you see, it's really about, once you can restore and realign with your purpose and your essence, then the prescription to continue that, right, is the renewal phase. And I'm going to share some really cool strategies with you in a little bit. The other reflection that I wanted to share with you was from one of our TIP folks. She says, knowing self serves me immensely on this journey to become a trauma-informed professional. I would say the biggest takeaway for me from this section that she's working on is that being in tune with and acknowledging my own feelings is a priority, not only for myself, but so that I may better serve others. And I love that, because, when we talk about feelings, I think sometimes, and I'm, a recovering feeling stuffer, feelings are really our internal GPS system. Feelings are trying to tell us something. But when we don't pay attention to what we're feeling by either ignoring them or stuffing them down, we miss the memo. And what I recently, have discovered, and I can't remember the gentleman's name. It was Antonio Damasio or something. It's a Big Think YouTube video. And he talks about emotions and feelings, and that feelings are actually the conscious awareness that an emotion has occurred. An emotion is a biochemical phenomenon that is that happens at an unconscious level. It actually happens at the level of the brainstem or the limbic system. Combination, right? It is mediated through this phenomenon called neuroception. I'm going off script now, so bear with me, okay? But this is wicked interesting stuff, and I think you'll understand the relevance of it in a moment. So at an unconscious level, all organisms, regardless of age, gender, anything, are constantly surveying the environment to determine, is it safe or is it not safe? Always, always, always. And then that elicits an emotion, right? That occurs at the level of the limbic system that then activates a response, whether it's a stress response or an engagement response, right? A fight or flight or flee or an engagement situation. That all happens unconsciously. And the feeling is our conscious awareness that I'm feeling a little anxious right now, or I'm feeling actually really pumped right now. The feeling piece is the conscious awareness of that emotion, that sub unconscious biochemical phenomenon. And so it's important to pay attention to the feelings because something's going on in your body. Your body is alerting you to an event, to something that the body is hoping that I hope the brain responds to this because I'm trying to, I'm sending up smoke signals and something needs to happen. And so when we stuff our emotions, and sometimes our emotions are also come in the form of our intuition. Our intuition are also feelings, how we feel about a certain situation. And do we pay attention to that? And the way that we can cultivate that awareness is through the renewal process. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys all to turn to page 10, right? Is it page 10 in your workbook? And I'm going to ask you write down this answer to this question. You ready? How does it feel to be you? Just take a moment and jot that down. I'm just going to read your comments. Yeah, it is heavy. Website link for that is great. Lots of practice. I know it is. It is a great website, Angela. Meredith, thank you very much for the support. This is great. I hope everyone's feeling good. Now, I'm going to scroll up. Okay, so people are already starting to write. How does it feel to be you? Lonely yet spiritual, chaotic, satisfied. Since retirement, awesome. Sue, sad. I'm mostly sad, lonely, disconnected, blessed and fortunate, aching from what I want and what I think I can get. It is a hard question. I've had lots of grief. And, oh, God bless you, the loss of your husband. I'm so sorry. It feels overwhelming, rejected, mentally good, physically declining, stressful, busy sometimes. So there's lots of stuff going on, and that's why it is so critical. It's so critical that we adopt habits that support our renewal, that actually support our capacity to restore and realign. Because all of these feelings that you're having, they're red flags. Some of them are green flags, right? But a lot of them are red flags that something is off kilter, right? Something's offset and you need to do something. But sometimes we get so hung up. We're on that hamster wheel and we just keep running and we're not going anywhere. We're just because in order to get anywhere, we need to stop. We need to step off of the wheel. We need to give ourselves permission to sign out, to take a time out and renew and restore intentionally, not haphazardly. I remember a bazillion years ago, when I was working more hours than I ever should have as a nurse practitioner. And I would come home and my idea of self-care would be pouring a glass of red wine and flopping on the couch and watching DVR'd Ellen reruns, right? I don't know if you guys watch the Ellen show. And not that there's anything wrong with watching Ellen or having a glass of red wine, but in that moment together, I wasn't renewing myself. That wasn't self-care that I was practicing. I was numbing myself. I was trying to just shut down. And that is not a therapeutic way of handling my stress, my loneliness, my pain, all of those feelings that you guys just listed. Those are feelings that we all feel, but I was definitely in overload for those feelings. My cup was spilling over with all of that stuff. And the only way I knew how to address it was numbing. And if you remember yesterday, I mentioned Laura Vandernoot Lipsky. She's a social worker, author, and she's written the book on trauma stewardship. And she talks about trauma exposure responses, how we as if, you know, for the clinicians on the call, or first responders, or anyone who's in service to others, how we are affected by the trauma that we bear witness to. And the trauma that we bear witness to is superimposed on our own story of trauma, our own legacy. And it just becomes more compounded and more confounded. And we are left feeling this way, frustrated, frustrated, numb, overwhelmed. I'm trying to scroll up, exhausted, chaotic, not good, rejected. I mean, just, you know, I mean, seriously, big stuff. I'm going to write her name in here, Laura. You've got to check her out. Van Lipsky. She has a fantastic YouTube video that is a homework assignment for you guys. Write this down right now. Beyond the Cliff. I want you to watch that. Beyond the Cliff. All right. So you shared an awful lot of stuff with me. And I want you to now think about, I want you to go to page, is it 11? Yeah. And I want you to think about this, right? I don't want you to just write like the opposite, you know, I mean, unless it's appropriate. I really want you to be intentional. How do you want it to feel to be you? You know, write down the first words that come into your head. How do you want it to feel to be you? Yeah, respected, fulfilled. You want it to feel good, happy, energetic, fulfilled. My word's easy. Peaceful, fulfilled. Yes, confident, loved, brave, and safe, centered. Look at all of you guys, right? Happy, peaceful, mentally and physically strong, carefree, whole, joyful, righteous, and loved. Woo! I want to feel awesome to be me. I want to be balanced, body, mind, and soul. I want to feel happy. Balanced is coming up a lot. Exact, confident, right? I mean, and how do we get there? How we get there is really by adopting practices and investing in ourselves in ways that will restore us, renew us, and reset us. And that's really, I mean, that's what my takeaway is from my journey of becoming a trauma-informed professional, is that it has allowed me to do this. It has acknowledged that, just like everyone else on the planet, I have trauma in my life. You know, it's part of who I am. It's what has brought me to the work that I do, and who I am standing before you right now. And so there's good that has come out of that, but it took me a long time to unbundle that and find the gem, find the nugget that I mentioned yesterday, right? Finding that nugget it takes work, right? It takes effort, it takes time, a commitment. It takes a renewal. It takes a commitment to renewal in order to do that. So if I ask you my next question, then, if I can find my page, I'm so sorry. I have them all up. How do you want it to feel? Okay, here we go. So this is my next question, and then we're going to launch into some strategies. Okay, what would it take to feel the way you would like to feel? I'm just reading it from my workbook too. So here's the question again. What would it take to feel the way you want to feel? The way you would like to feel? What would it take on your part to be able to feel safe, centered, calm, balanced, confident, productive, joyful, peaceful, awesome, righteous, whole, happy, strong mentally and physically? What would it take? Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. Let's see. Yeah. Yes, Rebecca. Right. Giving permission, letting go of the too many things I take on. Bravery, Angela. It takes courage. Lose weight and be proud of myself. You're awesome, Robin, regardless of any external variable about who you are. You have to give yourself permission. You are worthy. You are valuable. You are beautiful. Herculean efforts, Priyanka thinks. Lots of hard work. It may feel that way, okay? Sometimes I feel that I need something from others to feel better, but I know that it needs to come from within. It does, Katie, and that's your inner wisdom speaking to you right now. I thought the same thing. All right. I thought that the measure of my worthiness was being married, right? Finding a husband, being smart, and being not just smart, being super smart, right? Like I was giving away all of my worth to the world, right? I mean, I was nothing without validation from the outside world. I had very low self-esteem. And so you can see now why self-esteem doesn't really serve you in the absence of self-compassion. Emptying some of your cup, absolutely. Let go of some of this anxiety. Yes, Terry, but the anxiety, it has a story to tell you. That feeling is trying to tell you something. And so, yes, you want to metabolize it. We can't ignore that we're having these feelings. We have to look at them, but we can only look at them when we're feeling safe, right? When we're feeling courageous, when we're feeling whole. And it's not like I never feel whole and I always feel this way, right? We have epochs, right? We go up and down in waves. And that's why it's important for us to practice renewal strategies, adopt them and incorporate them into our daily routine. You know, more courage to speak up. Exactly, right? And but courage is, it's within all of us. Healing is within all of us. Knowledge is within all of us. We just need to rediscover it, really, right? And again, it's unpacking, right? It's looking at all of these, the stuff that's in our cup. Is that a keeper? Is that going? You know, I'm just scrolling down. Honest self-reflection. That's true, Lori. That's true. Prayers, yes. Grateful to me and the me that God made, yes. Acknowledgement from peers is what I want, but not sure I depend on that. That's a really insightful comment, Donna. And kudos to you for sharing that, because I think we all like that. I mean, that's natural, you know, to be acknowledged by your peers, but you can't have your entire self worth defined by what others think. You are worthy, and you have to believe that. Is, I mean, you are a child of God, right? You are a child of the universe. You are, there is no other you on this planet. Literally, there is no other you. You are here to serve, to give something that only you can give to the world. And that should make you feel pretty, whoa, like awesome, right? I mean, there's nobody else on the planet like me. There's no other me on this planet. So, I mean, people can say the stuff that I'm saying, right? Absolutely. But it won't be the way I do it, right? And it won't be the way you do it. It won't, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? And that knowing really needs to help you feel more valuable, feel more confident, feel more strong. Laura, I have this really bizarre relationship with my inner critic who sits right here on my shoulder. And I have gradually embraced this little thing, person, energy, whatever, however you want to refer to it. That now I discovered that my inner critic is really just trying to keep me safe. I don't give her the keys. She can't have the keys to my life. Okay. But I listen to her now. But it was a journey to get to that place where I felt like I could love her and embrace her, because I saw that she was just looking out for me. And if I stay small, if we all stay small, if we all stay obedient, we all stay subservient, we all just kind of, then we're safe. We're not happy, but we're safe. But that's not what life is about, right? Life isn't about living safely. I mean, it's about living. And so I think, oh my heavens, there's so many more comments here. I'm trying to get to them all. Stop using anger as a motivator. Absolutely. But examine that. What is your anger telling you? What is, unbundle it? After you've tried a little bit of these renewal exercises. No worries, Janet. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Everyone brings a uniqueness to the melting pot. Exactly. And it's cool. It's like all of you guys, this, I know that this is like condensed, right? This is 3 days. And I wish to God, that I had a little bag of fairy dust and I could just sprinkle it all over you guys and boom, you're all set. You're all good. No worries. But to be honest with you guys, the the joy of the discovery is in the journey. I mean, the discoveries that you make on a journey of self-discovery, like on the journey of becoming a trauma-informed professional, I learned so much more about myself and how I'm here to serve than all of the books that I have lining my shelves talking about trauma. They're all valid. They're very important aspects of my knowledge, but just reading a book doesn't mean that I'm transformed, right? Just reading a book doesn't help me unbundle my own trauma, my own story, and release my true essence. It's a journey. And I embrace that journey, particularly, again, with the trauma informed professional journey. I wasn't doing it alone. I was on this journey with other like minded, hot scented, passionate people that also know that they're here to make a big difference in the world. And they want to make that discovery. They want to unbundle themselves so that they can truly walk the talk of being a trauma informed professional. Well, this is so amazing, you guys. So we whipped through those all of those questions, and so now what I want to do is I'm going to just I'm going to share my screen. And hopefully, let me just make sure that it's up over here. Yep, I've got this. So, and I'm going to put this. I made this workbook for you guys, and I'm going to put it on the members site. And let's see if I can do this. You'll have to give me a thumbs up if you can see this this PDF. It says filling your cup, renew. Do y'all see this? Did I do it right? I can see it. Okay, excellent. Okay, just making sure I'm doing this right. And so it's a little bit of, just kind of like, thanks guys, some information, just a little bit, a blip about me, and why this is important. And then I came across these and compiled them all. There's 20 of them, okay? And I think you're going to be really excited to go through them. So we'll just, kind of run through some of them, and then I'm going to open it up to questions before we close down and I set the stage for tomorrow's call, okay? So, these are 20 renew stories. Every time you renew yourself, you relate to your world with a renewed sense of aliveness. Seeing beauty and color through fresh eyes. As you experience this newness, your life force is activated. Life inside and outside of you becomes rich and inspiring. We see many young children with different kinds of trauma. Absolutely, Robert. And that's why it's so important when you're working with individuals with a known trauma history that you engage with them with a trauma-informed approach. And I might have touched upon this yesterday, but that trauma-informed approach is basically just seeing them for who they are, engaging with them, and having that beautiful reciprocal rapport with the other person, and let them lead the dance. Let them lead the care encounter. Let them lead the conversation. And that's really what it is to be trauma informed. But in order to do that, you yourself have to be whole. You cannot give what you do not have. If you do not have compassion for yourself, you cannot give compassion, authentic compassion, to other. If you are not kind to yourself, you cannot give kindness to others. You may think that your kindness is in the form of being super efficient and awesome at putting in IVs, which is an awesome skill. But that's an opportunity to engage with other with kindness and compassion and connection. And when you don't do that, that person feels that the absence of your presence. They still feel isolated. They still feel, like a pincushion, like that they're invisible. And that's not what a trauma-informed professional does. That's not how we engage with the world, whether it's our patients, our family, the folks at the supermarket, the dry cleaners, the two places that I frequent the most. it's about our whole being. It has personal and professional implications. And so maybe we, I'm going to scroll back this way, and you guys just pop in a number from 1 to 20. Okay, just only one number. Pop it in, and then I'll scroll and find those strategies, and we'll look at it that way, because I think we don't have enough time to go through all 20. Okay, 5, 7, 15, 7. Okay, 20. Okay, all right, good. You guys pop those in. I'm going to go with the first gal who gave me the number 5, Priyanka. So this was a fun one. Okay, how to renew yourself. Walk backwards. Now that might sound really strange, but in the reference, it was about walking backwards, literally or metaphorically. That there is an old shamanic exercise of devoting a day to doing everything the opposite of how you would normally do them. And what this does is it kind of breaks you out of they use the term stuckness. The idea of doing something differently. For example, if you usually brush your teeth with your right hand, try it with your left hand. If you usually, put your pants on this way, with one leg, do it the other way. And just try different things, because what it does in the moment, it sounds really silly. It takes a second to do, but it brings you back to center. When I'm brushing it, my teeth, the way I usually brush my teeth, my brain is not involved in the teeth brushing at all. It's on autopilot, and I'm thinking about 80 million things that are going to go down in the next day. If I just switch it over to my left hand, which I don't normally do at all, then I can't be daydreaming, right? I have to be present with that exercise. And what that exercise does is it helps me notice, what does it feel like in this one moment to be me? Maybe it feels a little clunky. Maybe I'm noticing, hey, my teeth are kind of cute, or, maybe I'm noticing other things about myself. And when you do that repetitively, right, you make these self-discoveries and you become reacquainted with who you are. That's a renewal strategy. I don't know how that comes across to you, but this is hard because I live for routine. I'm right with you, Gwen. All right. I love routine and ritual, but it's not that you're not going to now make this your routine, because then it would just be another ritual. It's just doing it out of the blue. If you feel like you've got a few extra minutes, try it. Yes, get out of the other side of the bed. Exactly. It's just those little things that really try and, shake you up so that you're more present in the moment. And that begins the process of renewal, which is pretty cool. I'm just going to tell you. Okay. Thanks, Priyanka, for number 5. We've got a couple of 7s here, so I'm going to flip over to number 7, and you'll have all of these, so don't fret about it, okay? This was an interesting one. Sense the movement. I liked this one. It was, the invisible world is filled with movements, even if you can't see it. When you open your senses to these movements, the world feels more alive, abundant, and intriguing. So I just actually had an experience with this just, it might have been last week, when I let the dog out in the morning, and it was Thursday, because that's trash day. And so I don't like to put my barrels out the night before, just because sometimes raccoons or whatever, and I'm in the city, but so I do it in the morning. So I get up in the morning, and I'll take the dog out, and I just, bring him down. And usually it's really early in the morning. It's like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's still dark. And I remember I was struck by how quiet it was. Even though I'm in the city, it was super, super quiet. And I looked up to the sky. I could see the beautiful moon and this, a bare tree that, has lost all of its, blooms because of the winter. And it was just moving ever so subtly. And I have to be honest with you, I could have stayed there like until the sun came up. It felt so peaceful. And all I could think of was just the movement, watching the tree sway. And I was kind of annoyed that my dog, came up and was like bumping me and, getting me to go back in the house because I had to go in. But in that moment, I really did I felt alive. It felt very nice. And it's an easy thing to do, right? Some additional instructions with this one is, life is naturally moving all the time, evolving from one form to another. Imagine you are riding on these movements. One moment you are here and the next moment you are there. If you simply let go of control, which many of you guys shared yesterday is a real challenge, and I understand that. But if you can let go of control in a controlled setting, maybe begin there, you fall back into that natural flow of nature. And it's like surrendering to the current that takes you down the river, away from that staleness that you may be experiencing. I'm just going to see, because I see people are adding in there. Angela, check out your environment. 5 things you see, 4 things you feel, 3 things you hear, 2 things you smell, 1 thing you taste. I love that, Angela. Thank you so very much for sharing that. That's brilliant. Awesome sauce. All right, let me, oops. Meredith is pushing us down to number 15. Oh, I'm going to double dog dare all of you guys to try this one, okay? No more promises. Do you have a list of unfulfilled promises you have made to others? Raise your hand. Or, yeah, right? If so, look at your list, and for every promise, take 1 step to move closer to fulfilling it. And actually, the author suggests just get it off your list. Your energy stops flowing when you carry these burdens. It weighs you down mentally and emotionally. My team knows this. I'm trying to work to a place where I don't feel like I need to always be busy, because busy doesn't necessarily mean productive, right? And I hope I'm making progress, but you'll have to check in with them to see if I am. You know, don't make any additional commitments until you've delivered on your current promises. And I know how hard this is. I'm going to scroll down, because I bet people right now are saying, no way, Jose, there's no way I can do this, right? If you can't fulfill them, be honest about it with the other party, or, you know, the person that you made the promise to, or negotiate a new way in which you may deliver it. Don't hold it in, because it weighs you down when you make these promises and then they're not completed. It's a drag. How many of you guys will agree? It is such a super drag when that's the case. So there you go. Sue is inviting us to go to number 20. Okay, so here you go. And anybody else who put in the number 20. Another renewal strategy is express your feelings. Now, appropriately, okay? But frustrations, resentment, anger, envy, guilt, shame, owning up to having unexpressed emotions is a big step to unloading your baggage and emerging as a new person. Find a way to express your emotions. And it may literally be go out in the backyard and just scream. I mean, if that's cool to do, right? I mean, so that the neighbors don't call the police on you or anything like that. But, you know, do something like that that helps you, and be present for it. Like, I'm intentionally going to express my emotions, and I am going to rip this paper bag into 80 million pieces, and it's going to represent all of my frustration, all of my resentment, right? Just get it out. Because what happens when we keep that energy inside, it actually, not only does it weigh us down, but it has a physiologic effect as well. It contributes to a state of chronic stress, and chronic activation of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis also activates, or I'm sorry, releases inflammatory mediators into the system. And all of that biology actually contributes to declining health, wear and tear on the body, shortens our lifespan, contributes to adult morbidities such as cardiovascular disease, obesity, metabolic syndrome, central sensitizing disorders like like migraines, fibromyalgia, things like that. And so holding on to those feelings not only mess up your head, but can also really wreak some serious havoc on your physiology as well. I'm going to pick one more number here. Let's see, I'm going to jump to number 17. I'm going to do 17. And then the rest of them I'm going to share with you guys. And then tomorrow I'm going to give you a homework assignment, okay? I'm going to ask you to try one of them. And then when you come back tomorrow, I want you to pop it in the box and share which one you tried and how did it work for you? How did it make you feel? Number 17 might take a little bit of time. Declutter your space. And that's a renewal strategy. Your environment has an effect on the way you think and feel. We are constantly absorbing messages from our environment. I think of my office space. I've actually now committed to completely decluttering it, because in the past, I would just have stuff, 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 stuff. It was almost like what the inside of me looked like, right? I just had books and papers and stacks and this and that I hadn't sorted through, that I hadn't really examined. I just thought, this is probably important. I'm going to put it here. I'll get to it eventually. I'll do this. And then coming into my office actually was something that I didn't look forward to. It was this place of like all of these, like booby traps and things that I didn't know. And it reminded me of how I was feeling like a failure because I couldn't get through all of these things. I mean, all crazy stuff. Okay. And so now I am completely committed. There's a little bit of clutter here because I've got all my papers and notes for this. But I know where they go and they'll be moved off quickly. And another piece of this decluttering space, not only declutter it, but beautify it, So this is a renewal strategy that I do, that I don't know why it took me so long to do this. I love flowers. I absolutely love flowers. And I love when people give me flowers. But again, I'm giving away my power. Why should I wait for somebody else to give me flowers? I mean, I love when they do. It's absolutely awesome. Okay. And I have an amazing husband who gives me flowers on a fairly regular basis. But I want them all the time. And so what I did was I signed up for this delivery. I get a fresh bouquet of beautiful, gorgeous, responsibly grown and stuff like that, flowers delivered to me every month. It's from Bouq, B-O-U-Q. I'm like going to be their best commercial ever, but it makes my heart sing. And it's such a nice ritual for me when I come into the office and I check on the flowers and I make sure that they're all cool and I refresh their water and the beauty that they give to me. It just renews me. It uplifts me. And so, think about these strategies, and I want you to think about how you can begin to, embrace strategies that are going to restore you through these renewal activities. All right. Because again, this is, you're in for the long haul now. Okay. You signed up for this, you're in for the long haul. Things are not going to be perfect Wednesday afternoon. I wish they could be, but they're not. But at least you'll be on the path. And hopefully, some of the stuff maybe that I'm sharing with you, it'll stick in your head. You can't unhear what I'm telling you, right? It's now in your hands to do something with it. And that's what I hope that you'll do, that you'll do something with it, because you are all amazing, beautiful, unique souls that the world needs, that I need, that we all need. But we won't be able to tap into that wonderfulness, that beauty of who you are, until you're able to unbundle yourself. And so that's my summary for today's session. I'm super excited about tomorrow. Tomorrow's focus is about resetting your outlook on what is possible for yourself and for your mission, for your purpose on this planet. Think about it kind of like resetting your operating system. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Resetting your operating system so that you can really truly embrace the beauty and wonder of who you are and share it with the world on this journey to becoming a trauma-informed professional, a trauma-informed person. Okay. I know I feel kind of bad. I meant to leave time for questions, but hit me with some questions, guys. Feel free to unmic if you'd like. Before you leave, just make sure that I have all of your names so that I, can do the attendance correctly and stuff. Just checking in late. I was on the phone. Cami, thank you for a great session. You're most welcome. Thanks, guys. Yeah, for giving me your names. Was super duper. Thank you. I also love your glasses. Oh, thank you so much. I was trying to coordinate with my top. Thank you guys all so much. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll send out an email to let you know when I upload the recording and the workbook with these strategies on your member site. And I know I owe somebody there an email to get them hooked up. So no worries there. Okay. Thanks all of you guys. No worries, Robert, if you can't come tomorrow, the recording will be available. The recordings for all 3 sessions will be available through the weekend. And then it'll be terminated. So, oh, thank you, Rachel. Thank you. I wasn't able to attend yesterday. No worries, Laura. Check out the recording. Oh, you did check it out. There you go. Thank you. Thanks, all of you guys. I chose a word of the year and it's renew. Oh my God, that's so wicked awesome. Still fleshing out what it means. I hope I have given you some ideas. That's cool. Meredith, I'll share with you. I'll send you an email to let you know. They're on the member site and it should just say filling your cup. I'll make sure if you're not getting access, just email me or pop it in here in the chat so I can make sure that everybody is doing good. Hi, maybe tomorrow, how do you address if there are a few people in your unit that are open to trauma-informed care, but only 1 or 2? Yes, Donna, I absolutely will. Amy Wing, I was here yesterday as well. Is there a handout available of the 20 renewal strategies? Yes, Amy, I'm going to put it onto the learning system and I'll send an email out to let everybody know. So don't you worry. All right, you'll all have access to this stuff, okay? I just want to make sure that I'm being responsive to everybody. Look at you guys, you're all rock stars. Okay, well, thank you so very much, everybody. Mwah. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Take it easy, stay safe. Bye.